What a semi-finals. Two fantastic games, heartbreak, great storylines in both. Just two absolutely fantastic games of football in the Concacaf Gold Cup semi-finals to almost close out the tournament, as we now are moving on to a USA versus Mexico final. In the end, it is the classic Concacaf matchup of USA versus Mexico in the final. Big money matchup. It's the one Concacaf wants, and it probably is still the best matchup in Concacaf. But we had two fantastic games to get there, and here's how they played out. First semi-final, US versus Qatar. The US came out flying. They were great at the first little bit, and then they were not able to score. Qatar then controlling the possession, controlling the play for a little bit of the middle of the second half, getting some chances. And then for the rest of the game, it's tilting a little more US, teams kind of trading chances, but no one really is able to break through. Played out like that for literally 80 minutes, 85 minutes. And then, much like the quarterfinal against Jamaica, actually exactly like the quarterfinal against Jamaica, late final 10 minutes of a tight game, and the US find their goal. Jossie Zardes in front of the net on a low cross, gets it in, puts the US up 1-0 in the 85th minute, and that was enough for the US to hold on and win the game. Some fortunate luck for the US though, as earlier in the game, Qatar did have a penalty shot which was skied over the net in a failed chip. If that had gone in, we're looking at a completely different result, but Qatar misses a penalty kick. The US, like they did against Jamaica, finding a late goal to win it. And two incredibly similar knockout matches for the US send them through to the finals. Qatar, they had a great Gold Cup. They showed that they are able to hang in there with some of the better teams in CONCACAF, with some of the best teams in CONCACAF, literally. And I think a semi-final performance for them was exactly what was expected. Semi-final for them was, this is us showing what we can do, we can make the semi-finals, and they went out and did it. Honestly, for Qatar, props to them, they had a good tournament. But all I can say is thank God that the guest team is not in the finals. The US did their job, got rid of the guest team, made sure that we're getting a all CONCACAF final for the Concacaf Gold Cup. And honestly, that's just the best for the region. The second semi-final, Mexico versus Canada. Okay, first off, what a game for Canada. Shocked Mexico for most of this match. The first half was a little shaky. Canada had some chances though. Mexico controlled most of the first half though, and at the very end, a bad challenge by Daniil Henry. They get a penalty. Pineda scores on the penalty. Mexico, late in the first half, get a probably deserved 1-0 lead going into halftime, as expected. But then, second half, Canada comes out flying. Marc-Anthony Kaye, 7 minutes into the second half, great ball over the top to a on-the-run Tajon Buchanan, who just probably, arguably, one of the best goals of this tournament. Running down the left side, couple step-overs into the box, slots the ball nice low, cross the net to the right side, scores his first ever goal for the Canadian men's national team. And Tajon Buchanan, what a tournament. He was the standout of this tournament for Canada. Alphonso Davies got hurt in training right before the tournament, could not play. And Tajon Buchanan, in his first time getting called up to the senior men's national team, filling in Alphonso Davies' shoes, and he filled them incredibly well. He was our most dynamic attacking player the entire tournament, made things happen every game, getting a huge goal against Mexico. This is the tournament, in my opinion, where if you're a European scout looking at Tajon Buchanan, this is when you say, okay, we need this guy right now, because in this tournament, in this game specifically, he proved that he's good enough to go play against the best in Europe, and I think we're going to see that happen by the winter. After the Buchanan goal, Mexico gets another penalty on what was a foul. I agree, it was a foul. It was in the corner of the box, the top left corner of the box. And to me, that's the type of foul in that position with no real scoring chance that as a ref, you call that as a foul, but because of VAR, they had to look to see if it was in the box, and it was determined that it was in the box, so it had to be a penalty. I think if the ref knew that it was going to be a penalty and it was definitely inside the box, he probably wouldn't have made that call right there, because that just was a very weak penalty to give up. And yes, it was a foul. Definitely would be called as a free kick given its positioning if it was just outside the corner of the box. Unfortunately, VAR determined it was in the box, and Mexico gets a penalty, which Maxime Crepeau, beautiful, beautiful save, keeps Canada in it, keeps the scoreline 1-1, and after that, Mexico looked shook. Canada was going, they were playing very, very well, they were pushing, kind of phased off a little bit near the end, but they were starting to build it back up again, and then right before the 90th minute, the game is paused for Concacaf's anti-discriminatory protocol. And the game is paused for 5 minutes, and after that, the Canadian team looked like they'd lost all their momentum. Mexico, like immediately after that break, like 2 minutes after the break, has a great chance that Crepeau has to make a miracle save on, and then 5 minutes later, Hector Herrera scores. And 99th minute goal, Mexico wins the semifinal match, going on to the final. And the game was paused because of Mexican fans. The game was paused to punish Mexican fans. And they pretty much won the game because of it. Like, they won because of the pause. They won because of their punishment. Their punishment was that they won the game in regulation. I mean, if that doesn't happen, the game goes to extra time, anything can happen. I mean, Mexico's still the favorites. But they won in regulation because of the stoppage. And I'm pissed off because of that. Because it's just so sketchy. The chant was going on probably the entire game. I don't know, I didn't hear it. One Soccer's audio is kind of not great. But it was probably going on the whole game. So why do you stop at the 90th minute? And this isn't the first time that Concacaf has stopped at the 90th minute. It's like you let it go on the whole game, and then right at the end, when things are getting really exciting in the game, that's when you stop at the time that just hurts whatever team is flowing the most at that moment. And in this case, it happened to be that Canada was flowing like that. And it's technically is a neutral venue game. Like if it's a home game, I don't even know. Like if it's a home game, yeah, you can pinpoint and say, yeah. Like of course 99% of the fans in that stadium were Mexican, but it's a neutral venue game still. You're just punishing both teams. Like, okay, in hockey, you can call a penalty against the team that fans are doing something like that. You can call a 2-minute penalty a bench minor and make that team have to play shorthanded. In soccer, this stop the game solution, that ain't it. And the problem with soccer right now is that, like, okay, when you give Canada a penalty shot, that's way too steep of a penalty, and that's not fair to the Mexican players. They need, like, I don't know, a 30-yard out free kick, a 25-yard out free kick type thing, where, like, you get a decent scoring chance free kick as a result of that, because you can't just stop the game and stop the momentum. And it's so suspicious that they stopped it at that moment. Like, why not in the first half, the second it pops up, and like the momentum doesn't really get affected there? No, you stop it at the point where the momentum is at the steepest point. Like, it just seems so sketchy to me. It seems like it was intentionally done at that moment to ensure Mexico wins. And like, CONCACAF wants a Mexico-US final. And look at the 2 games that Canada lost in this tournament. That game against the US, which would have determined first place in the group, where we had 2 potential penalty calls that were not awarded penalties, and like, it was pretty easy to see how Canada could have gotten a penalty there. So the US game where like the refs could have thrown us a penalty, if the VAR gave it to us and given us the tie. But if we won, then USA versus Mexico would have been a semifinal matchup. And then this game against Mexico in the finals, you know, stop the game, stop the momentum. Mexico comes back and wins right after that because they get to regroup. And now you get the Mexico-US final. I mean, it's sketch. I don't like it. It wasn't a punishment. I mean, you've given the fans, in an attempt to punish the fans, you've given the fans an ability to dictate the game. Like, World Cup qualifiers are coming up, you know? If you're the home team and the other team starts getting a swing of momentum, you just start yelling whatever phobic crap you want, and you get their momentum swing stopped. That's not a punishment. You're giving the fans another way to dictate the game. You're giving the fans a way to affect the game more than they ever could have before. You wanted to punish the chant, you gave the chant more power. Good job, Concacaf. Good job, FIFA. Piss off. But besides that, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic game for Canada. This tournament gave me so much hope for the World Cup qualifiers. This looks like a team that can qualify for the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. They looked really good. They look like they can go beat Costa Rica, beat Honduras, beat Jamaica, beat those teams, get the points required, possibly put up points at home against Mexico and the US, and get into the World Cup for the first time since 1986. They honestly look like, take this team, throw Alphonso Davies into the mix, throw Jonathan David into the mix, Kyle Larin, make him back healthy, back into the mix. Beautiful. They're actually really good. Like, this is the best Canadian team probably ever. It's kind of shocking. Like, the presence of Alphonso Davies, because I remember back in 2017, we were just talking about how, oh my god, Alphonso Davies, this is like the first time that we have a Canadian player who's like actually potential to be a globally superstar level player. And all of a sudden, like immediately after the emergence of Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David shows up out of nowhere. Kyle Larin gets good. Tajon Buchanan just shows up, and it's Richie Lai now. It's Lai now, sounds Larea, that's weird. Richie Lai wavers to being a very solid player for the Canadian men's national team. Just, it's like the presence of Alphonso Davies brought out all this extra talent to the Canadian national team, and they look really, really good. And the fact that they couldn't get to the finals of the Gold Cup, like, they deserved it. They fully deserved it. And it's just so unfortunate that they couldn't. Also, Stefan Estacio and Marc-Anthony Kaye. I first mentioned those. Estacio, man of the tournament for Canada. Marc-Anthony Kaye, also incredible. Even Liam Fraser was looking good. Like, this was a team, everyone is just looking amazing right now. And I'm really excited to see if they can keep it rolling into the World Cup qualifiers, because if they can, making the World Cup is a very good possibility. So the final is going to be the expected US versus Mexico. Mexico's still my favorite to win. They still are. I mean, Mexico versus the US, it's always a great, fun game. Always a great game to watch. I think Mexico still has a slight edge. I feel like the US always has been scoring late in these quarterfinal games, and in Canada they scored early. They haven't really been able to consistently put goals in throughout the whole game. Mexico kind of have. I just feel like the Mexicans might have 2 goals in them, while the US may only have 1 goal in them. So Mexico is my pick to win the Gold Cup. Still is, always has been, but they still are. So that does it for this video. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the semifinals and who you think is going to win the 2021 Concacaf Gold Cup, the US or Mexico. And as always, if you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.